The following program is seen statewide on California Public Television. Hello, everybody. I'm Huell, and here we are on this spectacular morning in Northern California. Specifically, we're in Contra Costa County, about 50 miles east of San Francisco, a little south of the town of Antioch. Now, we have come here in search of a little-known chapter in our state's history. I guarantee I'd never heard of this one, but it all took place up here in these beautiful hills years ago. And that's where we're going to be spending the day, up in the hills, in search of this little-known California history. We're also going to be looking for some black diamonds. And all of this takes place right here in one of California's golden parks.
I love you, California. You're the greatest state of all. I love you in the winter, summer, spring, and in the fall. I love your fertile valleys, your dear mountains, I adore. I love your grand old oceans, and I love a rugged shore.
Okay, here we are, and this is, Tracy, I got to tell you, you work here, you're used to this, but this is about as beautiful a scenery as I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's a great park. I love it.
Great. All right, well, introduce yourself to everybody and tell everybody where we are.
Oh, I'm Tracy Parent, and I'm the supervising naturalist, and you're at Black Diamond Mines Regional Preserve, which is part of the East Bay Regional Park District.
The Black Diamond Mines Preserve.
Regional Preserve.
Okay, now we had talked a little bit about black diamonds. Now let's let everybody know, including me, because I didn't have a clue what we're talking about when we talk about black diamond.
Give the secret away, huh? Well, black diamonds, it's a nickname for coal, and this was the largest coal-producing area in the state of California.
Now, see, that's amazing because we all think about California with gold and oil and other kind of minerals. Most of us don't think about California and coal.
Well, this supplied energy to most of Northern California from the 1850s to about the turn of the century, turn of 1900.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, I've seen the old pictures. Where we're standing right now was a hustling, bustling place. There were 3 different towns here and hundreds, maybe thousands of people living here.
Yes, there were quite a few people here. This was the population center for Contra Costa County. There were actually 5 communities in this area, and 3 of the town sites are on park property today.
Now, where are we standing right now?
We're standing at Summersville town site, and Summersville, like the other towns, were named after some of the first people to arrive here. So this town was named after Frank Summers.
Now, there's nothing here now.
No, the buildings are all gone. When the mines closed, the buildings were taken apart, dismantled, and moved to nearby communities as a way of recycling them. So really the only things left today are some of the exotic trees that folks brought in.
What do you mean exotic trees?
Well, like we have a popular tree here, like you find up in the gold country, is a Chinese tree of heaven. We have almond trees. We have eucalyptus trees. So these trees kind of tell us the places where people came from.
They were brought here by the people who came here to live.
That's correct. They brought trees in with them.
And where did these people come from?
They came from all over the world. This happened just after the gold rush. So even folks up in the gold country came here to work in the coal mines. But there were at least 10 nationalities of people living here. And probably the predominant nationalities were Welsh, Irish, and Italian.
Wow. So a lot of people who came to California looking for gold had to settle for coal.
That's right.
Was there money in coal?
Well, yeah, for a while. There was for a while.
I mean, it doesn't sound as glamorous.
No, but it was a job. You know, it was a job.
Yeah. I've seen the pictures. The town was organized. There were activities here. There was a real sense of community here.
Oh, very much a family community. Yes, lots of activities. They had, besides working in mines, the danger of the mines, there were lots of activities, events for people to participate in here.
And it happened from what what time to what time?
Well, people started arriving here sometime in the 1850s. The first house was built in Nortonville, the largest community, about 1860.
And it lasted?
Till about 1900.
What happened? The price of coal, or they just changed over? What happened?
Well, there is still a lot of coal here, but it's very poor quality. It's lignite. A very poor quality coal, so when better coal came along, people moved elsewhere. And many of these folks moved up to the state of Washington. And there is a community there today called Black Diamond, Washington, named after the company from Nortonville that moved up there.
Made up of former Californians who moved on with the coal fields.
Right. Of course, they had new energy sources coming about, so slowly these mines closed. The last mine closed here in Summersville about 1900.
Well, this is a beautiful place to start our adventure because there's a lot more to see, including this big old hole over here. And see, this is what I love about history, because at first glance this just looks like a big old hole, but it's much more than that.
Well, actually, it's a big old hole that's been filled, and this is the site of the most northerly mine in the coal field, and this was the Independent mine, which was a shaft, and this shaft went down over 700 feet.
Really?
And unfortunately, in the 1870s, they had a terrible accident here, which blew parts of machinery across to the hillside, killed at least 3 men here.
But this was an operating mine up until when?
Probably, well, the 1870s sometime. I'm not sure of the exact year.
And what did they do? Just fill it in? I mean, is there still a shaft down in there if we went down far enough?
Under. There's a plug here, a big plug. The mine's been sealed for park visitors' safety. And here in this park we have over 200 miles of tunnels, and a number of mines have been closed to keep the place safe.
So there's still mine shafts and tunnels all up in these hills.
And some of them we have listed for people to explore.
Oh, good. Okay, that's what we want to do. We're going to explore one of the old mines. Well, we have come about a quarter of a mile from our first stop, and Tracy and I are walking very carefully because, Tracy, not only is this coal country, this is snake country.
Definitely snake country. That's
rattlesnake country.
Rattlesnakes and other kinds as well, but yes, we always walk carefully this time of the year.
Very carefully as we look back at this amazing view right here. And what gets me excited is you told me that this is all parkland, all preserved for future generations.
That's right. Everything surrounding us here is part of the East Bay Regional Park System. And
how many acres are we talking about?
About 5,000 acres. We've got over 40 miles of trails here.
Wow, this is just beautiful, and it's going to look, if we were back here 100 years from now, it would look just like it looks today.
That's right. We hope so.
They'd be little... The descendants of the snakes that are here now would still be crawling around.
That's right, that's right.
All right, now we've come up to this spot not only to look at the scenery, but to look at this pile over here. And are these tailings from the original mine?
Yes, tailings, waste rock from the coal mines here. And whenever we see a pile of waste rock, we always know there was a coal mine nearby. And this is a rather large pile because this is all from a mine very nearby us.
So there's another mine up here?
Yeah, right over here.
Oh, wow. Okay, so, okay, it's another hole.
Another big hole. This is one of the biggest because this was the largest mine in Summersville.
Now, what was this one called?
This was the Pittsburgh mine.
Now, was that been named after Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania?
Probably, maybe Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, although it is spelled differently without the H on the end. But the miners that came over from Pittsburgh, you know, that was coal country there as well.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Oh,
right,
look. Now, this looks like a bigger hole than the first one.
It was a very large mine. What once stood here was a large wooden structure that towered over the hole called the head frame. At the top of the head frame were pulleys which held the cables. The cables were attached to the lifts, or what we would call elevators. And that's how the men and materials got in and out of this mine.
Now, how many men would go to work in one of these mines every day, down in one of these shafts?
Well, in this particular mine, I'm not certain. We do know that in the largest mine in the coal field, the Black Diamond mine, which closed prior to this one, there were as many as 900 men and boys working underground.
In one mine?
In one mine, right.
And there were how many mines up here?
12 major mines.
So we're talking about a lot of people.
A lot of people, a lot of coal.
How much coal came out of these mines?
4 million tons of coal.
So these mines, including the Pittsburgh mine, literally kept San Francisco and the other cities of California heated and operating, the machinery operating for 50 years.
That's right. It was the energy source for Northern California. Barges would take the coal to San Francisco and also to Sacramento and Stockton.
Now, haven't I seen some pictures of a train, too?
There were 3 railroads that operated in the coal field. This was called the Mount Diablo coal field. And yes, the train that operated here was actually very close to where we're standing.
And so what, would the train take it to barges, and then the barges would take it into San Francisco?
That's right. Take it 6 miles down to the river.
So they had this whole thing figured out.
Oh, yeah, right.
Now I'm looking over your shoulder. This is another beautiful mountain here with, what kind of trees are these? Are those oaks on the side?
Well, yes, those are a lot of our native trees. We have live oaks and deciduous oaks there, and also the ones you see blooming right now are buckeyes, California buckeyes.
Wow, this is beautiful. What a beautiful place. It was hard work, but what a beautiful place for them to be working and living.
Yes, yes. Most of the trees you see up on the hillsides are the native trees, because there weren't many homes up there. But where people lived, you find the more non-native trees.
Now, they wouldn't have lived right here, this close to the mine.
There were people that lived very close to the mine. Oh, where you see these exotic trees behind us, there were people living there. What exotic trees? The Chinese trees of heaven that are blooming right now, some of them.
So these trees are the trees that they would have planted out in front of or behind their houses.
That's correct. That's correct. Yeah, the mine superintendent lived nearby.
So right over
clusters of trees over here,
That's a good way, even though the houses are gone, of knowing where they were, because you just look for the big old trees.
That's right, that's right.
Isn't it interesting that the houses are gone, and yet nature has left the trees behind to give us an indication of what was here?
Now, many of these trees are descendant trees, but some of them are rather old, over 100 years old.
Is that a road or a hiking trail, Tracy?
Well, actually, it's both. We've got over 40 miles of hiking trails here, used by a lot of folks. We had a lot of equestrians, hikers, bicyclists out, a lot of places to explore. Some great views, like from here, you get a great view of Mount Diablo, which is one of our California state parks. So Black Diamond, it's just on the north side of Mount Diablo.
And you have brought us to this spot to show us, look at this view out here. And as beautiful as this view is, this is a very specific view we're looking at.
Yeah, and this is a great view. This is what we call Stewartville Valley, and it was down this valley, extending out further east where the community of Stewartville was located. And then beyond there, the 2 smallest communities of West Hartley and Judsonville.
There were 5 altogether. 5
total, that's right. And there's a trail right down here that actually was used by the coal miners to get from Summersville, which is just behind us here, down into Stewartville Valley. Actually, the trail terminates at the Central Mine, which was the largest coal mine in that valley. Today it's used as a hiking trail.
So they would have been themselves hiking back and forth from home to work?
That's right. Did a lot of walking back then.
All right. Now, as beautiful as this view is, we've got even a prettier one. Oh boy, that's a mean looking thing right there.
It's one of our introduced. That's a milk thistle.
Wow, you don't want to run into that thing.
No, that would hurt.
But we come right over here down this old farm road, and we take a look at where we have just come from. Now, did these valleys where these towns were located have names?
Well, this valley here, we just call the area Summersville, the valley, but where Stewartville was the Stewartville Valley. But no, the area below us is Summersville, town site today. This is where the large community of Summersville was.
And what would they locate them in these little valleys?
In the little valleys. The communities were located in the valleys, and they were separated by the ridges.
Boy,
so we're standing on the ridge right now that separates Summersville from Stewartville.
Now, did each one of these little communities, even though they were all mining coal, did they have their own sense of identity and pride and, you know, I'm from Summersville, I'm from Stewartsville?
Oh, yeah, I think that they did. I mean, I know they had in Summersville their own baseball team. They played against other baseball teams. So, yes, they did have their own sense of pride and community.
And if we had been standing here back in 1880, 1890, looking down in there, we would have seen these huge shafts coming up out of the mines.
You would have seen the structures over the shafts, and you would have seen buildings everywhere, just everywhere.
A whole mining community right here.
2,000 people living in just this little basin area below us.
We're walking down the tracks, and Tracy, this is as good a time as any for me to bring up a rather delicate point. We came here in search of this wonderful coal story. You have shown us a couple of big holes in the ground that are filled in coal mines, but so far I haven't seen a coal mine.
Well, that's right, Huell. The mines closed here about 1900, and to make this a safe place for people to hike, the mines have been closed because they're very dangerous. Many have collapsed over the years or are filled with gas.
So they're all closed down, and we're talking about over 200 miles of shafts and tunnels and all of this. It's all closed in.
Closed down,
All right, so the question is, what can you show us? We didn't come all this way just to look at some big holes in the ground.
That's right. Well, we do actually have mines for you to see, and it's a little confusing, but we actually have silica sand mines for you to see.
Silica sand mines.
That's right. Two kinds of mines exist here. Coal mines too dangerous to go into, but we'll take a look inside a silica sand mine.
So wait a minute. When they stopped mining for coal, they discovered what, sand in these mountains?
In the 1920s, a whole new group of miners came in, and they commuted to site. They didn't live here. And they were after silica in the sandstone to make glass with. And it was Marvin Greathouse who started all of it, and then he sold his business to the Hazel Atlas Glass Company of Oakland, California. And so the mine that we're going to visit was an active mine between the 1930s and 1940s.
So they were mining, what is it called?
Silica.
Silica. And what would they make out of it?
Glass products like canning jars, ketchup bottles, beer bottles, things like that.
So the same part of California that was good for coal switched over to become an area good for the kind of sand and aggregate to make glass out of.
That's correct, yes.
All right, we're getting ready to go in the mine, and Tracy's already put on a sweatshirt. You're a wimp.
Yeah, I am, I admit it. You know, it's about 55 to 58 degrees in here. It can be 110 outside, but it's always going to be the same
temperature. It is about 110 out here, and this cool breeze feels great coming out of here.
Yeah.
Why is it going to be necessary to wear something extra?
Well, if you're here for a few minutes, it's fine. But after you're underground for a while, you get pretty chilled.
I still think you're a wimp. I'm going to go in without any kind of cover here to experience this wonderful old mine. Whew! It's already getting chilly. We are inside the mine. We got people coming toward us.
We do. This is Mike Moran, one of our naturalists here at Black Diamond, with a group of school kids. We get a lot of school groups
Let's go in and see what's going on in here. Howdy, how you doing?
Hey there.
What's going on? We didn't expect to see anybody in the mine.
Oh man, we just got back from a nice tour of the Hazel Atlas mine. How'd you like it, folks? Good.
Everybody has a good time.
Hey, are you still hot from that nice warm summer day we've got outside?
They're all cold in here, aren't they?
Yeah, it is. Anybody remember the temperature? What's the temperature of the mine? You remember? What was it, Tim? 58 degrees.
Year round.
More or less, give or take about 10 degrees, yeah.
Now, where is this group from?
Horse Elementary School.
Where?
Horse Elementary School.
Oh, okay. And this is just one of many groups that you take through here every year, right?
It is. It is. Hundreds of school groups come through here every single year. Get to do pretty much what you folks got a chance to do today.
Yeah. And what's the excitement? Just going in a mine? Just,
Well, you tell me. What did you think it's exciting just going underground?
Looking at the mine and stuff. Shivering cold in here.
It's shivering cold in here. That's what everybody remembers.
It is cold.
It's like we're in Alaska.
All right, we're getting ready to go back and take the tour.
Very good.
Nice to meet you all, and we'll see you all later. Come on and head on out. There's not room for everybody. Boy, everybody's having a good time. Did the parents have a good time too?
We did.
Did you know anything about the mining history around here?
No, I learned a lot today.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody had a good time?
We'll appreciate the warm weather.
Oh, look, she's not, you needed a jacket, didn't you? Boy, it does get chilly back here, but that would have probably been great for the miners, wouldn't it?
Yeah, not bad for them at all.
All right, now we've got this is just basically a shaft here. What's the first thing we want to look at?
Well, you know, Huell, right here is actually where the sand miners, when they were digging this tunnel out in the 1930s, came across an old coal mine.
An old coal mine?
Coal mine, that's correct. That's correct. We actually can't physically go into coal mine, but here we can kind of see the remains of it. The wood that you see there, it's actually old redwood. And the coal mines here were an average of 18 inches to 3 feet tall. And so that timber there is probably not any longer than 3 feet, and that tells you how the working conditions for those
So the
miners.
original tunnels for the coal were very
very
so
short.
these mines that came later on, in some places, intersected the old coal mines.
That's right. Some places they did. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And so these miners, you can see the strata of the rock here, how it goes up at an angle.
Oh, right here.
Had to crawl up at an angle because these layers of rock, the coal, were pushed uphill at an angle by Mount Diablo. We got a chance to see Mount Diablo.
Oh, here's a diagram of
That's
it.
right.
The shafts were not straight. They were at a slant. They
Again,
were
based
slanted up
Right,
and
based on the
down.
geology of the area. The coal was pushed up by Mount Diablo. The miners had to kneel or lay on their sides to pick out the coal.
Well, we're talking again about coal, and this was a mine used for sand.
Mining silica sand to make glass products, yes.
Now, what would they do? Literally just blast these things out?
Yes, they would blast the sandstone out. Now, the tunnel that we're walking down right now has a special name. It's called an adit.
An adit.
Yeah, A-D-I-T, adit. And the sandstone we're seeing here around us is not the good sandstone they used to make the glass products with, but they had to get through this area to get back to where the good sand was located.
Wow, this is amazing. And, you know, this is a part of the history I didn't know either, that this was a big sand mining area.
That's right, yeah. There's probably 6 to 8 miles of sand mining tunnels just in the old Summersville townside area alone.
Now, what's this down here?
Well, we're coming up to the shifter's office. The shifter's the mine boss.
Watch your step here, Cameron. This is all kind of dangerous down in here. Oh, look.
Yep.
So there was an office in the mine.
There was an
Look at
office in the
this.
mine. Now, after the sand miners left this area, a lot of things disappeared just by people exploring the area. And so when it became a regional park, we're in the process of trying to recreate the mine as it would have looked in the 1930s. So this room, we don't know if it was the shifter's, the mine boss's office, but that's what we're guessing it might have been. So we've
This the old
recreated an office.
telephone?
This is our communication system underground.
And what's back? Oh, there's just a whole nother.
Right down here, this tunnel that goes off around the corner, this is the haulage way. And this is the tunnel where they loaded all the ore cars with the silica sand and hauled it out of the mine.
Now, how far back does this go?
Well, on weekends, we take visitors through the mine, like the school group you just saw. We go back 400 feet.
Now, look at this. What's this? Now, this looks historic.
This is an ore chute, and up above, I don't know if you can see there.
Look up here, Cameron, right through here.
There are the large rooms we call the stopes, and that's where the good sand was located. Again, the good sandstone was, veins were pushed uphill by Mount Diablo, so they had to mine uphill.
And then they
veins
would
were-
bring it down here
Bring
and
it
dump
down
it
here.
into a big ore car.
Dump it into an ore car that would have sat here in the tracks, and then they would have hauled it outside.
Wow, this is fascinating.
Yeah, we get a lot of groups here, not only school groups, but geologists are just fascinated with this area because this is really the only place you can see a lot of the geologic features. You know, on the surface, they're hidden by the grass and other plants.
Yeah. Is there still, I mean, that's a silly question, but is there still a lot of sand still back here?
Yeah,
People
still a
wanted to
lot of-
mine for sand?
That's still a lot of good sand, but kind of the same thing happened during the sand mining days. They found better sand elsewhere, and so they stopped mining here, we believe, about 1949.
Now we're in for a treat because before we left the old mine, Tracy has brought us back to a place that the public can't come to now, but it's a very, very historic and wonderful place.
It sure is. This is an area we hope to get the public into in the future. And this is actually the place where they found the good glass-making sand. You can see how tall the rooms are.
This was the area where they brought the sand from down into those ore buckets down the chutes.
That's right. They blasted the sand with dynamite to loosen it and used big buckets, scoop buckets, to bring them down into the ore chute.
And I don't know whether the camera can pick it up or not, but this is a huge area that's been hollowed out back here.
Yeah, there are many levels of these rooms that keep going all the way up to the top of the ridge.
So the mountains are dotted with these rooms that have been carved out. All of this was mined sand.
Mined sand, that's right. There's a maze of tunnels under the hillsides.
And this is the sand. Here, hold the flashlight, because I want to grab some of this. Now the camera can get a good look at this, at how this is natural sand.
This is the good glass-making sand, high in silica.
Wow. And this is just the way it is naturally in the earth.
That's it,
So they would just, but I mean, this is porous. This is hard rock here.
Well, this is they took the sand or sandstone out and hauled it away by trucks and hauled it down to a processing plant nearby Pittsburgh.
But why is this like this in the mine?
This way, it's just been loosened from the sandstone around us.
Wow.
Or blasted down when the sand miners were here.
This is amazing. This California sand.
That's right. Good silica sand.
Well, we're ending the day here in one of your favorite places, Tracy.
We sure are, Huell. This is Rose Hill Cemetery. It's the only cemetery in the Mount Diablo coal field. And it was established back about 1865. That's the earliest grave. And there's nearly 200 people buried here.
Who's buried here?
Protestants, so mainly the Welsh folk, and a lot of children who died of disease, many men who died in the mines, and a lot of women buried here as well.
Wow, this has been so interesting. This has been such a fascinating adventure. I'd never heard of this. I don't think many, if any, of our viewers even knew this, but you're used to hearing that, aren't you?
Yes, we hear that quite often.
That at one period of time here in California, from 1850 to 1900, there was coal mining going on right here in these hills.
Right here in these hills, and thousands of people living here.
Well, they're gone, but their memories are still here, and they are preserved forever here at Black Diamond Mines Regional Park, that is here for all of us to enjoy and learn from. This park that is definitely one of California's golden parks. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you for coming out.
Let's just stand here and look out at this view right here and think back to 1850, when this was a thriving coal mining community. Well, I sure hope you enjoyed our visit to Black Diamond Mines Regional Preserve. And if you'd like to go on this adventure again or share it with family and friends, of course it's available on video cassette. All you have to do is call 1-800-266-5727, and we'll be glad to send it to you right away.